What's happened to the Democrats in Maine? Janet Mills has to drop out of the primary in Maine because she didn't receive any donations. And you know why? She didn't receive any donations. She's the only candidate in the primary race who doesn't have a Nazi tattoo, while the other candidates in the race are swimming with cash. And you know why they're swimming in cash? Because they, despite of having a Nazi tattoo, or they haven't been around for long enough to know that a Nazi tattoo is a Nazi tattoo. You don't have to be a genius to know that. Which the candidate claims that he never knew it was a Nazi tattoo and never knew the skull. Although he did try to cover it up, even while claiming that he didn't know that it is a Nazi tattoo. So why cover it up if you didn't know it was a Nazi tattoo? Are the Democrats cuckoo? And talking about cuckoo, you can't get cuckoo more than Eric Swalwell donators. They donated to his campaign even after the scandal in the tune of $200,000. And now they're angry. Now the donators, they want back their donations. Over $4 million. That's what they wanted back from Eric Swalwell campaign that has been scratched by the Dems. No wonder their voters are not too happy with them at this moment.
How would you guys describe the Democratic Party right now?
Lost.
Incorrect.
Trying.
Confused.
I'll say struggling.
I would also say
That wasn't the only bad news the Dems received. That was from their voters, but they did receive bad news from the Supreme Court. That rule that the redistricting in Louisiana is unconstitutional on the grounds of discrimination. That was their plan, how to steal or win the next congressional election. But the Supreme Court threw a monkey wrench into that plan. Now they pivot to global warming.
When climate change is flooding our streets, poisoning our air, driving up healthcare and disaster costs, how can the EPA justify abandoning that duty to protect Americans to appease polluters under the false flag of economic growth?
Following the law, Section 202 of the Clean Air Act, where does it say anything about fighting global climate change? Loper Bright, Supreme Court case, you familiar with it?
No,
Of course, she's not going to know about it. All she knows about is feelings, and the Supreme Court doesn't care about feelings. Supreme Court doesn't care about if your feeling is hurt.
maybe others are not, but let me ask.
But that's really important. As a member of Congress, Loper Bright says that we as an agency don't have the authority to get creative. If Section 202 of the Clean Air Act.
No, but you don't have, excuse me, you do not have the right to say climate change does not exist, that it's a hoax, and that's where this administration is coming from.
I understand you're upset that you don't know what Loper Bright is. Do you know what the major policies doctrine is?
I'm upset because...
You know what the major policies doctrine is?
No, let me just...
You're a member of Congress. You should know.
Well,
This was fun. Lawmaker doesn't know the law.
Who defended the environment to all of a sudden...
You're very defensive about not knowing the two biggest landmark Supreme Court cases of the last year with regards to your question.
You are very defensive about changing your policy and your positions with regard to the environment.
Okay.
Now, you just tell
me. Do you want me to tell you what the two biggest Supreme Court cases are of the last few years?
This is what I want you
Michigan
to tell
versus EPA.
Whoa.
West Virginia versus EPA.
You know, you're here because you need money from us. So halt for the second.
All she knows is that she's the one who's going to give Lee Zeldin the money. She doesn't care about anything else. She's holding on to the thread bag. She's not giving you any money. That's all she knows. But to put fun and joke aside, if she knows science that says that when the earth was formed, the earth was thousands and thousands of the degree Fahrenheit. This is still some of the coolest time the Earth has ever seen. When the Earth just formed, no one could live on it. It was so damn hot. So it cooled down. It's some of the coolest time that the Earth has seen, according to science. How dare these elder come here begging me money and lecturing me at the same time. You ain't gonna get a red cent. That is our lawmakers, ladies and gentlemen, at their finest. While the Dems are stuck on climate change, as if Al Gore didn't predict that the world would come to an end long time ago, and AOC said that in 2012 everything would be over. There ain't gonna be no more Earth as we know it. And John Kerry did say that there won't be any more ice on Kilimanjaro because of climate change, and all those predictions didn't happen. They were all failure. As I sit here today, I think there's still ice on Kilimanjaro. So while the Dems are fuming over climate change, the economy and our pay that we take home is going up.
Income up 6/10, double expectations, and that would be the best level since the summer of 20.
The best since summer of 2025, and still the Dems are complaining. All the Dems should do now is just jump out of their ship and jump onto the Republican train, because they are fighting a losing battle. Trump is winning. Speaking of winning, guess who is not winning? James Comey. He has been indicted one more time. The first time he was indicted, he won or claimed victory because the case didn't go to court and the case was thrown out. But now he's re-indicted. So that victory lap he took, he got to walk it back. He's been charged for threatening the president. But one thing for sure that he should have been charged for is for reading and miscomprehend. I mean, if you read that President Trump is colluding with Russia and President Trump mantra was "Make America Great Again." If America is great, that means Russia is going to feel a lot of pain. I mean, America Trump Russia so many times. If America is great again, Russia is just going to be the chump. So how does that make sense in a sentence? Putin is going to sell out his own country. I don't think as bad as Putin is, the Russians don't sell out their own country. I never heard of that. That was all the evidence that was needed to throw that case against President Trump out. Anyone who read that and see that there is no evidence, that doesn't make logical sense. That's all we have for today, folks. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe.